The goal is you gotta protect public health and public safety, and you also gotta preserve the economy. And you gotta focus on both. This is a two-front war we're fighting right now. It's both an economic crisis and a health crisis. And if you fight one and ignore the other, and you lose one, then you lose both. Because you need both to have a healthy country.
Don't forget to smash that share button, subscribe to my page, follow me on Instagram at Lance Bachman, and keep sending me those questions.
Hey everybody, I'm fired up to have Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick back on the den with me. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for being on, making the time.
Thanks, Lance. Good to see you again.
Good. So it looks like next week we're going to be officially out of the red, going to the yellow. Can you tell everybody what the yellow looks for people here in Bucks County and southeastern PA?
It's the next level as far as our re-engagement into the economy. It's certain sectors are going to be reopened. Obviously, there's going to be certain parameters to make sure that we don't have a resurgence, distancing and sanitizing and the like. But this is a positive step. I will say, though, however, that I've been very supportive of a piece of legislation at the state level that my representative and my friend Frank Ferry introduced that has the support of several of our Bucks County legislators that will basically, I believe, solve the problem by getting the decision-making out of the nerve center of Harrisburg and bring it down to the county level.
Do you think we should be shut? Do you think someone should not be able to get a haircut? Do you believe that someone should not be able to get a haircut, but a Walmart person can see 700 people a day?
So based on the dichotomy makes no sense. You're right about that. Based on the current assessment of the health director in Bucks County, if a business can operate safely, it should be allowed to be open. I think that's what makes sense. If it can be done safely, and underscore safe, and I trust the business owners of our community to keep their employees safe and to keep their customers safe. And now that because we've been in quarantine for a long time, Lance, you know that. And we got to remember why we did this in the first place. It was to flatten the curve so that the demand on the healthcare system didn't far exceed supply. The goal is you got to protect public health and public safety, and you also got to preserve the economy. And you got to focus on both. This is a two-front war we're fighting right now. It's both an economic crisis and a health crisis. And if you fight one and ignore the other, and you lose one, then you lose both. Because you need both to have a healthy country.
Do you think we have school in the fall?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. And
do you think we should? I mean, you're a bright guy. You got your hands on the forefront. Do you think children should be going back to school in the fall?
I mean, it's going to be dictated by the health situation on the ground at the time. I sure as heck hope that we're not in that bad of a place where we can't open school. We really need to do everything we can to get our kids back in school. It's very important because I think people are talking about this a lot more, Lance, now. There's also health consequences to quarantining. There's also health consequences to being without a job. There's also health consequences to keeping kids out of school. Health is a very broad concept that can affect people in a lot of ways. So unless we have a very, very serious resurgence or spike in the virus that would make it unsafe, absent that, I think as long as it's safe for these kids to go back to school, which I hope and think it will, I think they should.
Let's talk about censorship. Obviously, everything going on in the news. I've been a true component. I've said this for years now. Facebook, Twitter, everywhere I speak, Instagram, not Amazon as much. They don't really jump into it as much with the censorship, but they control so much our social media platforms they become almost news channels for the average American, right? That's where a lot of people get their news, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They read things. And they're censoring a lot of what people would consider conservative views. And all of a sudden, they're playing fact checkers, right? Literally 4 or 5 months before an election. Since when do social media platforms become fact checkers? Social media has become the economic engine for America. They're big money. They generate a lot of revenue. So people really don't want to mess with them. And they're protected by the 1996 law that was made. And I get that. But do you think government should step in and say, hey, we got to monitor these companies? They have way too much power and they're starting to abuse their power?
It depends on the company needs to make a determination. Do they want to be a platform or do they want to be a publisher? And depending on what they want to be, there are different laws and different regulations that govern their entity and their conduct and their transactions. So my belief is that these platforms, unless there's some type of threat to public safety or blatant libel or slander, they provide a platform that is balanced, that's equal, that's fair, and that doesn't treat different groups differently. That's the most important thing. again, I don't think, and it's been the policy for a lot of these social media platforms for a while, to, take certain posts down if they meet certain criteria, and there's a whole scope of and a whole range of criteria that could apply to. What I don't want to see happen is, because as you pointed out, there are an awful lot of people that rely on these platforms for their information. I don't want to see any kind of censorship. I don't want to see any kind of, an entity like that calling balls and strikes on behalf of the viewers as to what's true and what isn't. That's the viewers and the users' job to do that, not any sort of distant, because who knows who's doing this? It could be some 20-something-year-old kid who's, calling balls and strikes on whether something's legit or not. I think the best thing that any of these platforms can do, provide all the information and let the users decide.
As you know, I don't vote, but you'd be one person that I would definitely be proud to endorse, because you've definitely given Bucks County so much of your life. And I'm proud to call you a friend. I've seen what you do here. So anyone watching this show, the election's on Tuesday. Congressman has done so much for our businesses. He's fought for us, there's so much more of you've done for this community. And I'm just very proud of everything you've done. I couldn't thank you enough. And I hope you win on Tuesday. And there's no doubt we need more people like you fighting for us.
I appreciate that, Lance. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the Den, Congressman. I appreciate everything. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, sir.